My name is Rebecca Clark. I have been in the housing industry for approximately 35 years. I started out with residential homes and moved into the multi-housing industry in 1980. Years ago, my mother told me, she said, "I am so glad that you fulfill your need for excited misery in your job so you don't carry it into your home life." I think one of the scariest things that I have ever actually done was, again, it was a drug-related incident on a gang-infested property, and I had this little old lady. She came in, she leased an apartment, sweetest little lady you ever meet in your whole life. 2 weeks after she moved in, we realized she didn't live there. We had approximately 15 people living in this apartment. I went over and approached the unauthorized occupants, and they got a little bit irate with me. I communicated with our neighborhood police department, and they said, you know, we're going to kind of keep an eye on them. The police department came back and said, these are members of the Greens Point Posse. You need to be extremely careful. So I kind of kept a real close eye out on the apartment along with my maintenance staff, you know, that team that works together. And everybody left. Well, at that point, I decided to do a unit inspection. I found all of the photographic equipment that they used to make false identification cards, NIDs, a tremendous amount of narcotics. Well, I called the police department. They said, "Becky, it's going to be a few hours before we're able to get somebody out there." And I said, "Well, that's okay. These people may be back before that's over, and I could be in a lot of trouble for just even being in here. I could get hurt." So at that point, I had my maintenance staff bring my truck over in front of the apartment, and I confiscated the drugs. I confiscated their equipment, and I drove it to the police department and said, "Please take this stuff off of my hands." 2 days later, I got a phone call from my office, into my office, and someone said that they smelled gas at the corner of my property. So I'm like, oh, I've got a gas leak. I need to go check this out. So I get my maintenance supervisor on the phone. So I'm walking across the street. I meet my maintenance supervisor on the other side, and he just looked at me. He said, "You know what? Something doesn't feel right." He said, "I'm going to go check out the gas leak." He said, "I don't want you to." He said, "I've seen a white car drive up and down the street 3 times this morning." As he walked to the corner of the building, and I was still behind it, to check the gas main, which was located right there on the corner, across the street there was a little convenience store. The same white car had 3 guys hanging out the windows with assault rifles and machine guns, ready to eliminate me. When I went to the gas meter, there was no gas leak. There was no smell of gas. My maintenance supervisor walked back around the corner and said, "Becky, I got the tag number." He said, "But they just set you up for a drive-by shooting." So I went back to the office, got in my car, took my maintenance supervisor, gave him the tag number, and about 2.5 hours later, that particular vehicle with those people in it, they were pulled over, they were arrested for weapons, and they were taken to jail. But that was really scary.